Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. And somebody out there used my name as a. Anyway, I greet you all with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day, honestly, I do. I pray that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. Hi, Barry Chad. Yep, I was crazy enough to think about, listening to me tonight too. Crazy voices, right? So, I bring this about because, well, people are having trouble with this. Let me just say that, okay? And I suffered with this for a long time. I mean, like 20 years. The voices in my head, right? The crazy voices that telling me, I'm upset about something, but I don't know what it is, and I feel crazy. I mean, I was in the mental health area for 25 years easy, right? I mean, actively in mental health, okay? Taking meds, going to counseling, etc., right? So, of course, the first time they wanted to test me for, for weed, I said, adios, because they weren't going to serve me if I smoked weed. Okay. I mean, anyway, yeah, mental health of Georgia. If you smoke weed, you can't be a part of their program, but they'll hand you out all these other types of medicines that will literally make you crazy. Whereas if you smoke a joint and if it shows up in your urine, because they will test you, then you're not eligible for their mental health program. So much for the mental health. And a lot of us gave up. There were folks who didn't even smoke weed at the time because they had jobs or whatever. And they said, no, you're not piss testing me. There's one friend of mine, I've been friends for years, 30 plus years. And he was like, I got a CDL license. They test me all the time. So, and he goes, you know me, Dave. I don't smoke weed. I might have a beer once in a while, but the idea of the people at mental health piss testing me when I don't smoke and they won't take my word for it. He said, anyway, we're all a lot better for leaving the system, they probably did that on purpose, to see how because they were serving too many people. But with that, though, the crime bosses in the state of Georgia, they, you get 1 month's supply of your medicine that I've been taking for over 2 years. And after that, you're on your own. I mean, they're thinking about the mental health well-being of the citizens and residents of the state of Georgia, but yet they give them a month. Here's your last bottle of pills, bud. And, unless you quit smoking weed or allow us to test your pee every time you come in, you're not getting any more medication from us. So here you're on a med for 2 years, and then they say, bye-bye, adios, see you later. And what? And anyway, so that's the system, which is just downright crazy, right? So the crazy voices in your head really start yakking at you. These people are crazy. They want to piss test you. They're smoking weed is bad, man. For all the things that would help me out, smoking a joint to calm me down when I was like going erratic and crazy. No, can't do that. No, but we'll give you all these pharmaceuticals, to mess up your brain. Great idea, right? So the voices in our heads, and listen, I've had 25 plus years of voices in my head. If anybody can speak on this, it's me. Not calling in anybody else, but I see other people still having the same type of situation. And it's this, okay? It's saying no to the crazy voices in our heads that make us want to, fidget or jump around, or I can't handle this, or I think I'm going to lose it. And, all those things, them voices, I'm going to lose it. Are you? Well, yeah, I feel like I am. Okay, listen, now, Here's something that I spent years working on. And, it's still kind of a work in progress. But after so many years of practicing this, it becomes a natural thing. So when I feel like earlier today and reading the news and watching stuff, and oh man, I wanted to jump off a bridge, hopefully with water, but I was like, I feel sort of a panic coming on. And I sort of feel like that old, holy shit, what are we gonna do? Oh my God. And I said, we got, I can feel the thing coming on. So I say no to it right away. And feel that feeling coming. No, you don't. You change the subject immediately. Find something else to do. Pick up something to go, I don't know, but this, you know. Now, look, I've suffered with this, okay? So I'm telling you the truth here. Oh my God, I can't do this. I feel myself being depressed again. And oh my God, here come those thoughts again about my family and this and the priest. Oh my God, oh my God. And then it overtakes you, it consumes you. But when I started saying no to the feeling as it came up, I just said, no, we ain't going to do this. Well, but what about this stuff? I don't care about this shit in the back of my head. What I care about is not going down that depressed road again. So you immediately look, I don't know, like, well, I'm having these bad thoughts. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, look here. Here's a bag of dried apricots. Oh, I wonder what it says in here. Now you say, well, now, Dave, that sounds like stupid. But if you can do the most mundane thing to change the channel in your thoughts. Now, I've been trying to remember the old physicist's name that he's been on Carrie Cassidy and other people. He's an old physicist, white hair, ponytail kind of thing. And he's been around forever, right? So, he talks about that, our movies, the movies that we live in. So, today me and Duggar went outside. It was cold and I still had to split some firewood. Okie dokie. Yesterday, I was like, nah, screw it. And we just, put up with the cold for the day. But that's because of my decision, you see. Well, I'm a little short on firewood at the moment because of all the rain and stuff we've had. So, and I'm just not as young as I used to be, as much as I would like to. But so anyway, in the depression kind of thing, I was like, got to change the channel. So, but you can change the channel from whatever you're thinking about by simply changing what you're looking at. Well, I'm thinking about my this and that. Okay, but I wonder what's in this, this bag of dried apricots here. And, look at this. Good, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and it's got calories in it. And if you stay out of the trap, which is the voices in our heads that want us to be depressed, that for whatever reason, they want us to think about these things, and we just have to say, no, ain't having it. Well, I read the thing on the dried apricots and that feeling's still around. Okay, so I got my immediate attention off of the subject. Let me read what's in this and be serious about it. Don't be cheating, and go, well, I'm going to read about this, but I'm still going to be fucking depressed. No, it doesn't work that way. Because one of the things that we will convince ourselves, honestly, that it's too hard for us to overcome. Now, I have spoken with many people over the years, and I used to say it myself. So this isn't about somebody else, but it is about me. And I was, oh my God, it's so hard to change the channel. It's so hard to change subjects. It's so hard to stay out of I was telling myself I couldn't do it. So the first thing you have to change is that, well, that old depression feeling, I'm better than that. When it comes up, well, it was hard in the past. Put it in a previous sentence, in a previous time zone. It was hard for me in the past, but not near as hard now. So you put a positive in your brain ahead of time. Well, if I'm going to get depressed again, or if I'm going to have certain thoughts about this and that, and the other thing, I am going to immediately warn myself that we ain't going there again. And, there were times when I'd say, well, we ain't going there again. And 3 hours later, I was still chewing the cud on whatever it was that was depressing me. Well, I'm trying to get out of this mood. No, the fuck you're not. I'm telling this to me because 3 hours later, I was still in the mood or I couldn't shake the feeling. That's because I didn't try to change the channel. I just said, well, I'm not going to think about this. But I didn't do anything to change the channel. It was still on in the background, right? So, but if you say, something's coming up, got a weird feeling, whoa, look at these dried apricots here. You change the channel immediately. And if it's only a short commercial, like reading this bag, then I go, okay, now, as soon as I get done reading this bag, I'm going to have to do something else. I don't know, watch a comedy, go outside, chase the dog, or let the dog chase me, or something, right? To make sure that the channel is changed and it ain't going to flip back on its own kind of thing. So when you learn that you can actually do this, okay, and that you can be successful with it, regardless of the chirping inside your brain. If you tell it no, and I got to be rude about this, but you got to fucking mean it. You can't be horsing around with this. You want to get rid of crazy stuff in your head, then you got to say no. Okay? You got to say, I ain't having this. Change the channel. Now, to the craziness that goes on, one of the things, and I haven't spoken on this recently, but I used to speak on it a lot. And it has to do with speaking in the positive. And, too many people say, well, it's too hard, Dave. Hawkeye, I've tried and I just can't do it. But here's the thing. And after listening to these folks and remembering and reminding myself how I went through this for 20 odd years or more, that I kept saying, oh, this is so hard. So first I put the implant in my head that it's tough. And then I say, oh my God, it's so hard. I can't do this. Well, I don't know if I can do it. Okay, well, that's a little better than I can't do it. Well, it's tough and I just can't do it. I haven't been able to do it. All right, so then why don't you change your frame of thought right now? For example, I could have went to town today and bought some cigarettes. I didn't because I'm at least sincere at the moment. Greetings, David Castle and Barry Chad and Royal and Ed Hagel and Michelle. Blessings to y'all. But for this idea, though, that working with and I was going to put in the title, but I decided not to. A lot of people, they are the demons in your head, right? The demons that may possess us. But if you feel like something's trying to overtake you, which has happened to me a lot, let me tell you, this old feeling is coming over me, and I'm like, So there's a campfire, right? And I'm standing around the campfire, and I'm a little kid in my head, right? Let me see if how hot that fire is. So I stick my hand in the fire. Now, for every time I do that, I should remember, wait a minute, fire bad for skin, burn you, kill you, But fire good, if you want to cook something or if you're cold as hell, and I got a good fire in the heater right now. So we say, well, it's a good idea when these bad feelings come to learn how to change the channel, to learn how to change my frame of thought. And you can do it instantly. Now, it takes practice, okay? I will warn you ahead of time. But for people who wish and want to honestly get rid of the voices that overtake them. Now, I still hear the voices and I just go, that's cool. All right, next. And so I ignore a lot of those old crazy thoughts. And lo and behold, I don't have them much as I used to, okay? Because I've gotten used to, hey, when here comes that whoops, ain't gonna happen, bye. And I send it on its way. Now in the back of my head's going, yeah, but And so I deal with the back of my head, the sort of subconscious that said, yeah, but I'm still here. And I have to go in there and do a little extra work and go, so you're still in my subconscious. Poo on you. Go away. I got this. And as you do this and you tell yourself out loud, oh, can't have me. Sorry, I'm better than this. And it may take you an hour the first couple of times. It may take you days to overcome it at some points. But the thing is that, oh, I'm so depressed. Okay, you just talked yourself into your situation. I'm so depressed. Okay, say it again and convince yourself. Well, I was so depressed today. There you go. You're sinking it into your own brain and into your own self-conscious. You're getting yourself sick. So you say, man, I was sort of feeling depressed today. Sort of. You use an adjective, I felt like an old depression coming on. I felt like. You don't say it is, it felt like an old depression and I dealt with it, versus, oh, I was so depressed today. I just want to tell you how so depressed I was today. And today I was so depressed. Oh boy. So your brain, your inner id is listening to these things. And they want to come out in other voices in your head. So when you take control of the situation and go, well, yeah, I had some sad thoughts about a friend of mine who passed and something reminded me of him. And so, but I allow myself a little bit of leeway and go, yeah, we had some good times on the river. And yeah, I remember this. And then when it starts to get a little boo-hooey and blue, I go, okay, now that's enough. Let's change the channel. Let me look out the window. Let me look over here. Let me pull a card from the deck. Let me go turn on a video. Let me go do something else. Let me change the channel within my own brain. Now, people say, well, that sounds really good to you, Hawkeye. I suffered for years with depression. I'm not depressed anymore. There are times when I feel that it wants to come over me and I go, So taking charge of your own self, of the people who, the voices in my head are sort of related to a personality, right? There's the carpenter in me. There's the puppeteer and the storyteller. There's the person who used to do a lot of stage and directing and that kind of thing. There's the person who, does videos. There's the person, so these are characters within my own personage. But if one of those is the depressed son of a bitch that I don't like to hear, he wants to like open the door and stick his head out every once in a while and go, it's kind of quiet. I think I'll try my little depression dance. Diggle, diggle, diggle. Everybody get depressed. Everybody, and the group comes out of their closets and beats his ass and puts him back in his place. But it didn't used to be that way. It was the depressed character within me that seemed to always win out over all these other personalities that reside within me. It's the creative side and this side and that side, the musician and So, but who wins? It was the depressed guy every single time. And after 25 years, I reached a point where I said, I am so tired of this. I want to fix this. I went to therapies, some of which helped me. I went to therapies. I've took medicines. I've spent money. I've spent time. I've been thrown against my will into the state mental hospital for 3 days on a Baker Act. I feel like I've been the gambit. I've been beat up by nurses and nurses staff in an emergency room situation, strapped to a bed without any water, without any food, without any bathroom facilities, and they said that I was the crazy one, and locked me up for 3 days. So all of that is depressing. It's in the past. But at the time, it was really freaking depressing. So, how do I deal with it? Well, I sort of came about this with my collective, what I've learned from different people, not just counselors, but people. I've known several people that were my teachers in life, but who were actually and honestly professors at state colleges here in Georgia. And one of the things that a friend of mine told me 30 years ago, okay, she said, David, one of the things that's wrong with you, and I was like, okay, I'm open. I want to fix this. She said, you have the JC complex. And I'm like, what? She goes, we call it JC because it's the Jesus Christ complex. And I was like, now hold on here. I don't think I'm Jesus Christ. That she goes, let me finish. She goes, like Christ, you want to fix problems. You see somebody broke down the side of the road, which is not a bad idea, but I'll stop to try to help them. And if I see a kitty, I'll try to fix it. If I want to try to fix if somebody's having a bad day, I want to fix it. And here's the thing though, when it doesn't work, and I've spent all my energy on helping this person, that person, this situation, I had nothing left over for myself. So the bits and parts of me that really wanted to help, now there's nothing wrong with helping, but there was nothing for me. There was nothing left of me because I was all sectioned out trying to help these other people. Because subconsciously, again, it's just a name, the Jesus Christ complex. It's that I didn't think that I was holier than thou, but I thought that I could perform miracles when I couldn't. I thought I could fix people's situations, and it couldn't do it. And so that depressed me, but then again, there are times when I have to look at that statement, the JC complex. Wait a minute. There are some of us, if you will be honest with yourself, kind of have it, because we do want to help other people. But sometimes we help other people to the detriment of our own soul, okay? Our own sanity. And that's just wrong, because we're human beings here, and we can be Christ-like in our thoughts and prayers and our actions. We help people when we can, but there has to be a sane point in there where we go, okay, here's my help. And if the other person or the thing, but when we give up so much that we lose ourselves, we can't help anybody, especially ourselves. So we get lost in the complex of helping others to the point of our own detriment. Now, with that said, there are people who will get depressed over situations like that. Now, I've been married several times, had several girlfriends, and I've never cheated on any of them. Although I tell you for true, I came close a time or two, but I didn't. I refused. Even though my ex-wives were going, well, they were my wives at the time. I found out later on that they were the ones sneaking around and doing stuff behind my back, because I was working all the time trying to provide for them. So this idea of, that, wait a minute. So was I the crazy one with my female companions? Or was this, what was it? Well, I come to find out in one or two situations that they took advantage of my JC complex, unbeknownst to me. Well, he's a good-hearted person. Dave, you're a good-hearted person. That's why I love you, and that's why I married you. But in the back of their heads, they're going, I wonder how long I can ride this out. Well, after 2 or 3 years, I go, see you later, alligator. I was just looking for a spot that I could rest out for a little bit, and screw you. I'm going home, and I'm taking everything in the house with me, which is what happened the last time. Everything was gone in the house. It was empty when I got back from that puppet show. And then she tried to blame me that it was all my fault. But anyway, that's another story. But so when other people are at fault, they will blame you. Always. It's your fault. You made me, want to leave you. I've worked 50 hours a week, plus every day I spend an hour on the road, and I come home and I help and I work around the farm, but I'm the one to blame. How am I to blame when I'm not even here most of the time? And I send you emails, you call me on the phone, interrupt me during meetings. But if I say can't talk now and hang up the phone, I got people from Ford Engineering standing around me, and she calls and then wants to bitch me out because I can't talk to her on the phone. But anyway, so these are things that will make you crazy. The other person, and I put it was in one of the cards that I pulled the other night, and I can't remember which one, but it has to do with, if you're around another person or if you're in a crowded room, is it your thoughts and feelings that you're feeling at the time? And I found this out for myself, was I picking up vibes from the other person? So I would get very defensive when you're 5 minutes late from work. There was a train. Now, no offense, but if I was going to have sex, it would take more than 5 minutes. Just saying, especially back then. But to the point though, it's like 5 minutes late and you're screaming at me. So that I would get so defensive so quickly because I was picking up whatever the other person was. I couldn't stay calm. So it made me crazy, right? That's sort of my point in talking about this. So you may think it's your feelings, but if you're with somebody else, you may, especially if you're very empathic, the empathy that you feel towards the other person, your feelings of depression or whatever may not be yours, really. So I realized that, and I went, oh, she's being pissed off at me because of some other reason. It's not my fault. So I was like, as soon as she would start to pitch in and really like grind my ass, I'd go, well, gee, I'm sorry you feel that way. And it was like, well, aren't you going to argue with me? No, I don't see the point. What? Yeah, I just don't see the point. You don't believe me, and me telling you the truth every time doesn't work. So listen, the reason I'm 5 minutes late is because I stopped at a bar, went to a strip club, and spent $20 on a pole dancer. Well, you can't do that in 5 minutes. Well, you didn't believe the truth. So I'm going to tell you a lie, because that's what you don't want, the truth. You want me to tell you a lie, because whatever's in your tiny little brain, you're trying to pass it off on me. So in a lot of instances, some of the feelings that we have may not be our own, period. Okay. Now, for example, since I've been on this new kick of being more positive and speaking positively and staying out of the depressed zone, there are times when I feel kind of weepy. And I'm like, all right, I know this ain't me. Okay, so must be somebody or something in the universe that's making me feel this way. Because me and the dog are fine. I got wood in the heater, and everything is as groovy as it can be under the circumstances. So, but with that said, though, the feelings still want to creep in, but I have taken power over them, which is me, and said no. So, people who want to quit smoking, I rolled a cigarette earlier, and it sat there, and I was like, aren't you going to smoke it? And the other side of me said no. Well, then why'd you roll it? I rolled it so I could say no to smoking it. Now I really want one because it's been 4 or 5 hours. But the thing is that I would have smoked, I don't know, 4 or 5 cigarettes in the last 4 or 5 hours, probably about 1 an hour sitting around here and doing stuff. But I haven't. I've only smoked one in the last 5 or 6 hours. Yay for me, right? So pat on the back. So I take I am proud of the fact that at least for today, I'm being honest, at least for today, I said no to rolling cigarettes, and I got tobacco and papers. That's not the point. I just said, you know what? I'm not going to go to the store, even though I got gas and a new battery, and I'm not going to the store. It was the daytime, not going to the store, didn't have to worry about headlights. I'm not going to go to the store tomorrow. I'll have to because now I'll be out of milk and I'm going to have to get some more dog food. But, you know, for me to go to the store, and I could have bought dog food and milk today, but I said no, because I'm going to buy cigarettes. I know I will. And I'm probably, if I go to the store tomorrow, I'll probably buy some cigarettes. But here's the deal. If I've made up my mind to do better this year than I have previously, rather than just smoke and not think about it, I'm going to like put a pack of cigarettes up there and go, okay, how long can you go without having one? It's my test to me. How long can I say no? So, you know, that's about the only thing I really got to say no about anymore. But, you know, hey, and I sort of look at it as, well, it's one of my last vices. What the hell, right? If I want to smoke a cigarette, I can. That's true. But at one time, I only smoked 2 or 3 cigarettes a day. But to the point, I can make a pack of cigarettes last 2 days at least. So half a pack a day. And I used to smack. Yeah, I used to smack too. I used to smoke 2 packs a day. So the fact that I can make 1 pack of cigarettes last 2.5 days is still better than what I used to be, right? But I want to do even better than that, you see. So, but that's my inner conflict with myself. That's what's ongoing right now. I really want to roll one and smoke it. But anyway, but to the point though, the voices in our heads, and people that I've talked to, I say, how bad do you want to get rid of that feeling? How bad do you really want to do it? Well, I don't know. It's so tough every time. And I go, you got to stop that. You have to think of it in past tense. It used to be so tough for me to deal with this. Used to be. Because now you want to change your brain pattern. You want to tell the voices in your head and in your subconscious that you got this. Well, I used to cry every time I saw that movie. Well, now I think about all the times I cried when I watched that movie. And now I laugh about all the times I cried when I saw that movie. Now, the movie is what plays in your head, or it could be a for real movie. But the idea, though, that how I chose meaning in the past tense, how I choose to look at things now is like, if I watch that right now, I might boo-hoo. But now if it's a good movie and it's a drama and it makes you sad because of the movie, not because of your lifestyle or the current situations, it's a good movie and it brings tears to your eyes to see the acting, the quality of the story, and, okay. So there are times when boo-hooing a little bit's okay. But it was last week I watched a movie during the really cold and rainy spell. And I was like wiping tears out of my eyes, but it was a really good movie. And I thought, in the past, this movie would have set in motion other depressed or, sad feelings, or make me want to cry or lose control in some way. And I thought, gee, I'm so glad I'm better now. Now, can I still have those moments? Yes. But the thing is, 5 minutes, okay, the movie was an hour and a half, but the 5 minutes of being angry, 5 minutes of being sad, 5 minutes of, well, you can be happy a lot longer than 5 minutes. But to those things that are detrimental to our consciousness and our health and our mental health especially, which involves our spirit and our body and all that kind of stuff, if you're not depressed, and you just feel lighter on your feet. You don't have the weight of the world that you're carrying around. So physically, it makes you feel better. And all those enzymes and hormones and all them weird things that are running around and jumping around and trying to make you nutso, you say, sorry, you can't have me today. That's how I used to be. Put everything in the past tense. And a person I was talking to, well, earlier today, my friend from up in Tifton, and I was like, "So how's your depression been?" He goes, "Well, I broke my foot." Those are the folks that had an accident, and the lady ran in front of him, didn't give him a chance to hit the brakes, but he broke his foot, and he's been in a cast for and bracing and stuff for the last 2 months, and he's just now being able to start to walk a little bit and get out on his own. And so I was asking him, I said, "So how's your depression doing?" Because we both suffered with it, but he still takes medicine. He goes, "Well, I took my nerve pill earlier today." And I was like, "Do they really help you?" "Well, I don't know. They put me to sleep." So and I'm not talking bad about my dear friend, but because I used to do the same thing. Okay. So I take it and it calms me down and I fall asleep. And so going to sleep, you don't have to worry about being depressed because you're asleep. Course, now what goes on in the afterthoughts of your brain, because you could be put to sleep, but if the depression was working in the back of your head and trying to come forward, it didn't go away. You just went to sleep because you didn't deal with the subject before you took the pill. Okay. So when you deal with things and you tell your subconscious, "Listen, stop it, go to hell, y'all in there." That's being a little forceful, but just leave me alone. And then literally change the channel in your brain. And I wish I could remember Doc's name, but anyway, but other people have talked about it, but he uses the reference of change the movie, change the channel. And over the years of not just listening to him, but as a person who has been practicing this now for at least 5 or 6 years, I realized how effective it is. Oh, I just want to cry. Damn, these apricots are good. You know what I'm saying? Boy, what's on that pack? I forgot how many grams of sugar. And what's the dosage? So, and you say, well, that just sounds frivolous. Have you tried it? For people that have their feelings and emotions. And talking with my friend, I was like, well, he sort of had a reason with a broken foot, and his favorite Jeep is totaled, and his life's been upset. They've had to go to a lawyer and all these other kinds of things, right? So that can be depressing, and because you can't go anywhere, your legs broke, right? So that is a reason, at least, versus, there's nothing wrong with you and you wake up in the morning and you're, well, I just feel so depressed. That's different, right? Now, not saying that having a broke foot is the reason to be depressed for 3 months, okay? That's not my point. But at least there is a current reason and an accident, and there's been trauma. And so you got to give yourself a little credit to overcome that. But if something like for me, I was crying about that was 30, 40, 50 years old. Yeah, I am that old. In that, wait a minute, this is stuff in the back of my brain that, I can't make it. It won't go away because it's in my brain. It's there. Okay. I can't erase the memory, but I can damn sure control the memory. When I feel that memory come up, instead of being emotional or want to cry or sad or want to punch somebody, I go, well, the first thing I do is in the past, I would have reacted differently. I don't have to say it out loud. It's in here. Well, here comes that old feeling. I'm going to talk about the pedophilia and the priesthood and stuff, and which used to make me mad and cry at the same time. Now I can just look at it without emotion because I have control of the emotions that were attached to those things that happened to me. So, how do we fix this? How do you fix yourself? When you say no, you mean it. That's the secret. What? It's that easy, you say? It's that easy. The hard part is following through on the no. Well, no, go away. I'm not letting you in today. Okay, did you change the channel? Did you go pick up a book? Did you go outside? Did you call somebody? Not to bitch about why you're depressed now, mind you, but to talk about something. Say, hey, I'm feeling a little weird today. What's up? I don't know. How you feeling? Well, that's what I'm calling. I don't want to, feel ratty today. What's been going on? When's the next time we're going to get together? You've been playing any music lately? When's the last time you've been on the river? Change the subject. Call somebody, do something. But if you feel that feeling come back in, you say, sorry, you're not allowed. Now, I'm here to tell you, it takes practice. But the first thing, like I said a little bit ago, oh my God, I've been here for 40 minutes already. Oh my God. In this is that you have to stop telling yourself how hard it is, or how emotional you are when you speak, or an ex-wife comes up in my brain, and I still, there are times I still want to punch her lights out for what she did. I mean, she just downright used me, abused me, and then took me for what I had and left me with zero. A big bill. Lots of bills, as a matter of fact. She had started a credit card in my name, forged my name on an American Express card, and they tried to dun me for it. And I told them where to go. I said, that's not my signature. Well, yes, it is. No, it's not. They sent me a document. I said, I want to see the document that I signed. I want to see the signature that was provided. And then when they did, I said, ain't mine. So I showed them old checks of mine. I showed them where I'd signed, for my pay stubs kind of thing. I showed them where and I sent all these things to American Express. And I said, that's my signature. Whoever that person is over there ain't me. Well, they had all your information. I said, yeah, it's an ex-wife. Well, then you're responsible. I said, no, I'm not. She forged my name, forged all the other stuff on it, forgery. Can you understand that? No, if I had taken out personally and she charged something on it, I would be liable. But she forged my name, lied to you, did it under lied to me, said it didn't, and so you're going to make me pay for it? They still want me to pay for it. I still get an LLC every once in a while. We're going to prosecute you. And I go, yeah, right. Go ahead. When I've already proved to you, except in court, that ain't my signature. All right. So when this kind of subject comes up, I used to get absolutely fighting mad. I mean, angry, want to choke somebody. I mean, and I'm not really a violent person, but I can, I have my angry moments. I've, busted a few bones and knuckles, slamming my fist against a wall over the years. And how stupid is that? I just got to say. So how do you control it? You sit down and I mean, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I want to change this. And there may be several things that will depress you or put you in a weird mood, but pick the one that comes up in your brain the most. Pick one. And now you can also say, and anything else that may try to make me feel depressed, I'm going to recognize it and I'm going to say no to it. Period. You tell yourself ahead of time. This is sort of like a self-hypnosis. And yes, it works. If you give yourself the mantra over and over and over again, I refuse to get depressed over this, whatever this is, or that, or the other, or all three. You look in the mirror and tell yourself, Dave, have you had enough of this? Well, hell yeah. Then when you're going to stop, letting it bother you? Well, I don't know. Then you haven't had enough yet, have you? Well, yeah, I've had enough, but I don't know what I'm going to. Hang on. Change start change starts now. So I say, well, I don't know, I'll work on this tomorrow. Nah, wrong answer. You're going to start right now by saying, I am going to be aware. That's the first step. I'm going to be aware that when these feelings come, I will recognize them. And then I'm going to say no to them. And then I'm going to, but, and you must do this consciously, but you have to put it into your subconscious. You got to make yourself believe it. Otherwise, it'll never work. It'll just keep coming back on you because you, me, won't say no to ourselves, you know? Now, there are folks that honestly, this therapy kind of thing would not frickin' work on them because they're too loony, okay? I mean, they're just, they talk to themselves all the time. They're, oh, well, I get this depressed with me all the time. But then why don't you stop talking to yourself? Well, I don't have anybody else to talk to, and they are so wrapped up in the craziness within their own head, they can't see clear of it. Now, hopefully, none of us are like that. But I'm sure that many of us have issues that sometimes want to creep up and they want to take over our lives and they want to overtake our emotions. They want to give us bad dreams. But if you deal with it while you're awake and have a frank conversation with you, look in the mirror at yourself and look in your eyes. Because I sat here, well, Dave, we ain't going to do this no more. And then 2 or 3 days later, I was right back in there. And I realized, wait a minute, I was having the conversation, but I wasn't looking at me. So I went in the bathroom there, big mirror, and I stood in front of the mirror and I said, okay, we have had enough of this. Me, myself, and I. I choose from this point on not to react the way that I have in the past. Well, it might be tough. It might be. Might be. Not that it's going to be. Well, it's been tough in the past. But I choose to think positive about this. I just don't want to have these feelings anymore. So what are you going to do about it? I'm going to say no when those feelings come. And I'm going to mean it. You tell your subconscious that while you're awake and looking at yourself in the mirror and go, we're going to do this, right? Yes. We're going to take care of this problem, right? Yes. When these feelings come up, we're going to say no, right? Yes. And ask the question to yourself and then answer yourself with a positive yes. And then do it. Act on it. Now, it sounds simple. In reality, it is. But for many of us, it took me years to do this, okay? So, but once I got the basic premise, and once I looked at myself in the mirror and literally made that final decision, it's all been kind of sort of downhill from there. When I quit making it hard on myself by saying, this is so hard, everything changed. So, if you have family members, friends who just are, going over the same thing over and over, and they tell you, God, I wish I didn't feel this way, then you look at them very kindly and say, then why don't you stop? Well, and say, let's be positive about this. There are ways. Let's stop and have a conversation about this. I agree with you. I would like to help you, but in helping you, I'm going to give you an outline of what to do. But it is up to you to work on it. Now, depending on who it is and et cetera, say, look, if you're having a little trouble and you can't change the channel, call me. I'll help you change the channel. The channel. How you doing there? Dave, this is Hawkeye. Here you're having a moment. Yeah, I'm going to change the channel. Let's talk about something. Okay, what you want to talk about? I don't know anything but what's on my mind. Good. Don't tell me what's on your mind, but I'm going to help you change your channel. and just talk. Mundane shit is the best way to change the change the channel in your head. You know, I wonder how, Jim Henson come up with the idea of, Kermit Frog and Miss Piggy. I wonder how George Lucas come up with the idea of Yoda. Um, I wonder who in the world, came up with the idea of yodeling, for example. Yodelady. Okay, you know, put a mundane thought in your head, and you'd be surprised. But you got to want it. You got to tell yourself ahead of time. You can, most of the time, I know I've had some crazy thoughts, but by learning to become the compassionate observer, I can sit there and go, okay, there's some really strange shit going through my head right now. But I'm not sure if it's me. Maybe I'm picking up people in the neighborhood, maybe, and I mean in the sense of psychic neighborhood. Maybe I'm picking up feelings from somebody else who's literally on the other side of the planet, per se, because distance doesn't mean anything in the quantum up here, right? So how bad do you want to change it? You should already know that you by saying I'm tired of this, you already have the gumption to want to stop it. So, but in many times it's that people don't have the confidence within themselves to feel. I know this was my issue. I don't know if I can do this without pills. I don't know if I can do this without, going to therapy 2 or 3 times a week. I don't know. And then I was like, screw it. 30 years of this stuff hadn't helped me. And the bottom line is because when I looked at myself in the mirror, I was actually the one responsible for allowing the thoughts to continue, allowing the thoughts to affect me, allowing whatever past events, you've heard me talk about, in that old cotton field, when you get to the end of the road, dump that bag out. And that was a metaphor an old timer, showed me many years ago. But, I'm reminded of that, when I get to the end of this row, I got to dump out this bag of cotton because it's heavy and I don't want to drag it back across this field. So do you want to continue with the baggage, or do you want to say no to it? Are those voices in your head or the feelings or the characters, however you want to, describe it, if you don't have control, do you want control? And if the answer is yes, well, then take control. Well, that sounds so easy, but you have to stick with it. When I quit drinking, it took me a couple of years. I'd have a beer here and a shot there, I'll only have a half a beer. But the thing is that for some reason, I thought that I could get by with a little bit of alcohol when my system said you can't have none. And but I still wanted to have some. Well, we went to the bar and sat around. Yeah, you want a beer? No, just give me a glass and I'll pour some of yours into mine. I want to share a beer with you. When later on, when I would go to a bar, you want what you want to drink? You want a shot? Nope. You got Sprite? You got Mountain Dew? You got Well, yeah, okay, that's what I want. You don't want nothing in it? Nope. Mountain Dew on the rocks. What? Or Sprite on the rocks. And well, you must be the designated driver. And some bars will give you free soda if you say that. But, I would go, yeah, I'm a designated driver. And they'd go, yo, okay, for myself, But anyway, so can you do it if you put your mind to it? And there are some simple self-help skills about this. And if you have any questions, go back over this video, because I've given you the clues and I've given you an outline of how you can do this yourself, or to a friend, how you can help someone else who may be, and I call it going into a loop. My dear friend Serge, who passed away this year, he would go into these loops. And I mean, every time we got together, he would talk about the same shit. And after a while ago, I'd go, Serge, that's the second time tonight that you brought that same subject up. Well, no, it isn't. Is it? Yep. And I'm sorry, but I heard it yesterday, the day before, last week, last month, and quite frankly, last year. Let's talk about something else. Well, I didn't realize I was doing it. Exactly. He didn't realize he was doing it. But as soon as you put that thought in your head that when whatever the subject is, when this subject comes up, I'm going to get an email alert, a ding dong. Don't go there. Oh, yeah, that's right. We talked, me and myself and I had this conversation. I can't let this bother me. And I don't want it to bother me. Said, well, I can't let this bother me anymore. Why? Because you don't want it to bother you anymore. That's why. Well, I can't. Well, what's the excuse? Well, because every time I thought about certain things, I would bawl my eyes out. I'd be depressed for weeks, and I'd want to kill myself. Literally, that's me. I tried hanging. I tried, um, don't do hanging. It's not fun at all. Uh, Choking to death is just really not where I want to be. But anyway, so with that, let me put my glasses on. And with 56 minutes into this, David says, Michelle, I think anxiety is only energy. If you know what your energy feels like, then you know when another energy is around you trying to manipulate your energy. And I agree with that, David. But there are sometimes, and Michelle, and to others too, but since that kind of brought up, um, there are times when I have been with other folks. And Michelle, I know that you have a lot of stuff that you have to put up with, tolerate, or otherwise. And that will grate on your first nerve as well as your last nerve. But the more that you can, that anxiety, when you feel it coming, recognize it for what it is. Crap, that's that anxiety pill again, or whatever. And as soon as you see it, feel it, and that's what I mean by see it. When the feeling comes over you and see what's going to happen to you, you go, wait a minute. Let me take a deep breath here. Doody doo, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you might have to do that 100 times a day. But the point, though, when you recognize it, and I have been anxious these last few days, today, yesterday. Oh, and thank you, Teresa, about the note about the fence. It was just odd how they put it up so quickly and they had everything planned, was my point. And that they're scared to death of us, right? But the idea, though, that we can handle our situations, it does take courage and commitment to ourselves. And yes, other people can stop us from controlling that. The last ex-wife thingy, it was so hard. She'd be pushing buttons left and right and literally trying to smack me, kind of thing, to get me to have a reaction. And I just chose, no, you're not going to make me mad. And once you understand it, that it is anxiety, and the next thing for me, especially now, is where is it coming from? Wait a minute. I might be picking up somebody else's shit. This ain't mine. This anxiety is, maybe it's from the universe. It's all these other people that are having anxious moments. That's why I do some of these videos, because I know some of y'all out there are anxious as crap, and we're all being, fluttered by this stuff. So the positive thing is, though, let's see it for what it is. Let's look at it and go, well, okay. and calm that anxiety, take control of it. And if turning it into love is what it is, then that's what it is. But recognizing the energy first, and then, like I said, the second is it even yours? And I realized that a lot of stuff I was picking up wasn't mine, especially after I started cleaning my own closets out. You know what I mean? So you have to, and especially the more spiritual you become, the more empathic you become, the more fourth dimensional you see, then you are going to pick up other folks' stuff. So if the anxiety, or maybe it's fear, which is an anxiety in a way, a different face, is does this belong to me? And I look around and go, wow, I was bawling my eyes out for 4 or 5 minutes the other day. And I just stopped and said, well, whatever it is, good cry never hurts, but this ain't mine. Where's this coming from? Okay, so to my spirit guide, I'm like, all right, now, who does this sadness belong to? Because it's not mine. But I'm going to go ahead. I got 5 minutes to cry, right? But after that 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, now, if I haven't figured out where the energies come from, if no person or place or thing comes into my brain, I go, okay, well, we're just going to table this for now. Had a nice little cry. Okay, let's go, let's go play ball with Duggar or something. Let's go cut some more firewood. But anyway, so there are a lot of ways that we can deal with this, but understanding it and its machinations with our brains, the hormones and things that it triggers and stuff, when we start just stopping and go, wait a minute, you know, oh, there's that feeling again. But I'm not depressed. There's nothing wrong with me today. I feel pretty damn good. Then why do I feel depressed? Then it ain't mine. And it may not be yours. Always keep that in mind, especially you folks who are, tuning in. So anyway, Uh, Teresa says, I live with someone who has such a high level of it, he uses it as a battering ram. Yes, understood. It says, I get frustrated over this hockey game. But, to the point, you know, there's a lot of hockey in being played right now. That was a. All right, I've waited so long. I'm going to roll me a cigarette while I sit here and have a break. I can't believe I yacked straight on without taking a breath hardly for the last hour. I love you all. I do. And, for those people who would think that my prayers don't work or whatever it is, and that I'm a useless human being, everybody's got an opinion, just like assholes, everybody's got one, or a colostomy bag. I have a friend of mine that has a colostomy bag, and he was bitching the other day. I can't wait to get this thing. I can't wait till I can actually take a poop again. And I was like, you go. Thank God I don't have that issue, but I understand it. Ed Hagel, I have to turn off football, basketball if I feel frustrated so that it's time to turn it off. Yeah. And the thing is that it's only a game, unless you're betting on the damn thing, which I gave that mess up years ago, betting on games and stuff, which I used to do, go into football pools and stuff like that, was fairly good at it. But then the team I would pick would lose in the last 50 seconds of the game. Football, oh, they were ahead the whole time. In the last 2 minutes of the football game, there was a fumble. They scored. And then they intercepted a pass and made a touchdown, and they won by 1 point. And I'm going, son of a bitch. I would, they almost made Tampa Bay in the old days, but at Tampa Bay one the other day, I can't remember who it was I was watching, but anyway, it was right down to the last 10 seconds and they scored. The other team won, and it was like, that's how it goes. That's how my betting used to be. I'd bet on the team and they would win to the last 10 seconds of the game. That I was like, I'm screw this. I'm going home. I ain't doing this no more. So that kind of procrastination, prognostication. There you go. A prognosticator. Yeah. There used to be a radio show on in Georgia, and I can't remember his name, but he was the prognosticator. And when I worked in real radio, live radio, not this canned crap, we used to listen. I used to play, but he was funnier than hell. Every Friday or so, he would give this, the football or whatever it was, baseball in the season, prognosticator. It was like Big Red, the prognosticator or something, because Georgia Bulldogs have red helmets and all. But anyway, so I know folks out there who honestly have, these types of issues. Maybe you do. There is light at the end of the tunnel. There is a way. Don't be scared. Have confidence in yourself. But honest to God, if you just sit down and talk about it with yourself, it ain't the same as looking at yourself in the mirror and going, do you promise to stick to this? How bad do you want to change this? Well, I'm looking at myself in the mirror. I really want to change this. Are you sure? Yes. And so it used to be that if I felt like I was slipping, I'd go find a mirror and go, you told me that you were done with this. I know. No, you promised. Okay. But myself and I, looking at yourself in the mirror, I'm here to help you. Myself, I'm here to help you. Go Bills. Yeah. I was having issues, living in Georgia, the Atlanta Falcons. But growing up in Tampa, when, Tampa had barely had a football team back then. In fact, I don't even know if they had the Bucks when I left Tampa, but shortly after. But anyway, having been born in Cincinnati, of course, I have a little bit of, for the Cincinnati Bengals. But anyway, but the bottom line with this, though, is that how bad do you want to not feel that way? Seriously. And, in working around molds and heat treating and stuff like that, meaning fire and, like 2100 degrees kind of stuff, 1800 degrees, and you got to open up this furnace and it's hotter than hell. The first time you go in there, you go, oh, I don't really need a mask or anything. And then the next time you go, where's that mask? Where are my asbestos gloves here? Because you're going to get burnt. So the first time or two you go out, and then you learn how to open up the door and kind of stand to the side a little bit so that the blast of the heat coming out of the furnace doesn't burn your face. I mean, it will burn your face. And, so you learn how to do this, but it takes a couple of tries. But if you really want to do it, that's the point. You say, and look at yourself in the mirror. It's important. Because I tried for years just, doing the self-hypnosis, which really does work. But with things that sort of gave me a post-traumatic, stress issue, that required me looking in the mirror and having a conversation with myself and being honest and being open and etc. So I think you can do it. I think we can all do it. Poor Nelly. About what? And they would suck your energy right out of you. Yes. I've had recent people try to do that to me. And and trying to be nice about it. I'm like, you shouldn't really be like that. Really very good. Yeah. I am the camp counselor, for myself. You remembered that part. Our own designated driver is the new camp counselor. If, whatever pieces that you can put together that makes sense to you, do it. Because I had to come up with a scenario, especially after my, you know, bout with all those seizures. I had to sit down and go, you know, I'm literally brain dead here, and I didn't used to be. I used to be creative, and I used to do all these things, and now I'm just sitting here looking out the window, going, "Duh," and I'm not even on any medication. So, but I had to go in and go, okay, so how can I picture this? So, in my little picture book in my head, it was a room, semicircle, or maybe it was circular, but I was standing on one side of it, and all these rooms were, you know, had their doors shut. And some doors had light coming out from under them. Some doors were cracked a little bit, and others had padlocks and chains. So whatever it was, I was like, okay, so one of those, one of my feelings, one of my characters, okay, the carpenter, okay, the carpenter is behind one of those doors, all right, and for every one of my little personality traits, there was a door. So I couldn't get at them. I couldn't remember how to saw a board. I couldn't remember how to nail two by fours together. I couldn't remember how to do. I mean, I was literally brain dead. So I said, okay, let's try to open the door for the carpenter. Let's do something minor. Let's go cut a board, do a thing, and nail it to something. You know, I got lots of projects around here that's, you know, an easy thing to do. But, you know, I had to muddle around and, okay, how do I open the door? Well, I don't know. Well, let's go get a board. Let's go get the saw and let's just cut a ratty end off of it. And, you know, so I started with really basic, simple things. In that instead of trying to build a house, I was like, let me nail two boards together in some kind of configuration, right? So you start out simple, but then you build. And as the camp counselor, uh, I had to make the decision. Okay, now which one do I want to open up now, or what door do I want to? And so, at first, I was like, I want to beat the doors down because this information used to just flow freely in my head, and now I have to concentrate on the simplest of things. That sucks. Well, okay, but the more I said it sucks, the worse it made me feel, and the more I couldn't do what I used to do as a just a, you know, a natural thing. So anyway, so does the OM sound. Om. No more passenger seat for me. Spacing out not uncommon after so much brain trauma. I agree, but in being by myself and having no one to relate to and no one that even closely understood my situation, as you know, as the hermit down here in the swamp, I had to figure this shit out for myself. And so, with the grace of God, with a lot of prayer, with meditation, with being close to nature, I asked simply, how do I fix this? I want to fix it. Now, how do I fix it? Yes, Michelle, we can all become self fulfilling prophecies if we so choose. So, and again, I hate to put this negative thing in there, but for some people, it's going to be tough right at the beginning. But don't convince yourself that it's tough. It's because it's going to take practice and hard work. And but if you're willing, you know, after all these years and, you know, flooding the kitchen, this last big rain, the part of the kitchen flooded again. It's been a while, but it flooded again. And now I'm hell bent for election to finish that damn porch out there because the porch side of it didn't flood near as much as the other side of the kitchen did. So I'm getting there, you know. My idea for why I'm putting the porch out there and the foundation is deep and as hard and tough as it's been on me um, is the reason why that side of the kitchen didn't flood, which used to be the first part to flood. Anyway, so, but I'm not done yet. It's still a lot of work. Still got some more concrete to do, but I'm getting to the point where I can actually start putting up walls. Cool. And I can put up windows and the roof and stuff. Yay. Um, yes, it sucks. But see, that's just it. We can say, man, this really sucks, but I'm not going to let it suck in the future. Oh, yeah, this can be tough. Can be, not is, it can be tough. Wow. Convincing ourselves in our subconscious is one of the biggest keys, at least for myself. So, anyway, um, spacing out. All right. Okay. Oh, the singing bowl. Yes. And there are lots of other things too. I mean, singing bowls and it. But what if you don't have those items? Okay, find something that gives you joy. Maybe humming a song or something, or maybe whatever will do it. Or maybe sometimes tapping or doing a like I used to. I always wanted to play the garden. Play the garden. My fix was a garden project. Putting energies into other things, changing the channel. Yeah, just go get a book. Go do anything that will change your point of view at the time. That's it. That's the big secret. Yes, it requires work, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? I'm working on the porch. It's tough work. Yeah, for an old man and digging and pouring concrete by yourself and with a bad back and old age. Yeah, it's tough. But I still do it. Just because it's tough doesn't mean I'm going to stop it. But I don't say to myself, oh my God, this is so hard. I can't do it. I just don't know if I can do it. Maybe not today, but tomorrow. So, anyway, um, nothing meaningful is easy. It can be, though. That's just it. See, by saying that, you're convincing yourself that uh, nothing meaningful is easy. You're already telling yourself that it's hard to do. That's where it starts, Michelle. David says, you left yourself a path to follow by leaving breadcrumbs to the things that bring joy into your heart. Good point. Thank you, David. Each of us will find our own little tricks, but, and I'm not picking on you, Michelle, but by saying things like that to ourselves, it's never going to be easy. Well, if you convince yourself that it's not, then there you go. It's going to be tough on you. I understand that. Yeah, you were piggybacking, but being tough but you understand what I mean. I'm not. I wasn't picking on you, honest, but the thoughts start there. How tough is it going to be? Well, I've mixed concrete before. Yeah, well, I'm older this time. I know, but we'll still get it. Well, I'd like to work all day, but I'm getting older, so I can only do this for 2 hours. So I compromise. But to your point, um, let's not convince ourselves how tough it is before we start. That's all. That's part of the getting better routine. So I know what you mean, Michelle, and I got you. I got you. So and you were piggybacking on it, but it's tough sometimes to try to explain something without using words like tough, or sometimes it can be hard. But see, the idea is sometimes it can be hard. We put an adjective in there that, wow, every time I do this, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. Well, this could be tough, but I'm going to do the best I can. um, this could be really difficult for me, but I'm going to do the best I can. So if you have sort of a negative one way thought, you follow it up by saying, but I'm going to do the best I can. I know I can beat this. Yeah, it might be cause me, but I can beat this. So if that little bit of negative is in there, you follow it up immediately with how you're going to fix it, how you're going to survive or overcome. We all have to watch our words. This idea of speaking in the positive, I've heard some other folks talk about it since I did. I mean, I've talked about this 2 or 3 years ago. And speaking in the positive and trying to stay out of negatives. Listen, here's the basic thing. Our subconscious is listening to every word we say, think, or do. So if our subconscious is used to everything being tough, then everything becomes tough. If we say only some things are tough, then that's a roll of the dice because some things may get tough. Okay, but what? Don't know, but something. Don't you haven't established what it is. Sometimes it's tough. Sometimes, not always. You know what I mean? Keep that childlike imagination and learning always. Thank you, Ray. Um, but everybody needs to watch their words in some of these things. And I've heard people who are very positive people, but they speak in the negative. In that, well, this is really tough, but you're going to have to work hard. And there's, and if you don't do this, wait a minute. Well, yeah, it's going to be tough. But I follow it up with, but you can do it. It takes practice. Okay. The first time I tried to get on a pogo stick and jump up and down, I like to, killed myself. But after a little bit of practice, the pogo stick became fun, not a dangerous toy. Yes. Right, Ray. And Teresa, you're right. Sometimes it can be challenging. But see, if you say it's challenging always, you leave your brain, you got to tell your brain what you mean. It can be challenging. Okay. Well, when I go down on the river, I go through sections that, a section that, I got dumped over and damn near drowned. So when I go there, I don't think, wow, I almost drowned there. Yeah. Well, I don't think I might drown again. You know what I mean? I know. But anyway, it's very subjective. But remember, your subconscious is always listening to yourself and to other people too. But sometimes it will get mixed up in your own confusion, which is normal. Okay. So, but one of the things then is that, as I said before, is it your feelings? Is the anxiety yours? Is the depression yours? Is the hatred coming from you? And whatever the subject is it coming from you? I always think when I watch my kids play, pretending to imagine they are this or that and how convincing it is. That's how powerful our mind still is in the convincing. It's not literal, but you know what I mean. I do understand what you mean. As a person who was in theater, I was able to put myself into these characters. And there were people that literally, was 5 feet away from me in the audience, couldn't tell that it was me. And they knew me for 20 years in the theater. And I'd come out on stage with this or that. And because I changed my voice, I changed my whatever, they didn't. Later on, people say, that was you? I'm going, yeah, that was me. But you stood right in front of us. I could reach out and touch you. That was you. Yep, that was me. Holy crap. I was so convincing to even people who knew me that they didn't know me in doing these characters. So to your point, Ray, I really get it, and play can turn into realisms. And for some kids who play, they don't ever really kind of grow up, I guess. Um, yep, the mind is very strong and convincing. But as soon as we take control of that, as soon as we become the camp counselor, as Michelle reminded me, and say, wait a minute, nothing goes out of here without the camp counselor's permission, simple. And it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's a positive thing. Well, but I'm gonna, before I open my big fat mouth, I'm gonna allow myself to Chloe, Huck, I've been having a conversation with a loved one the whole time you've been live, and it's beyond beautiful, the connection we all have. My points to him are the same as your points to us. It's beautiful. I love this family so much. Thank you, Chloe. And yes, Ray, we're all big old kids here. I am, I come on here with a, crazy thought. Hey, let's talk about, the voices in our head, oh boy, let's have some fun tonight. Um, Good night, Teresa. And I'm going to cut this after an hour and a half. I'm going to cut this short. But I have bathroom privileges I need to I need to explore. Otherwise, I'm going to bust a gut down here in my slippers, and that just wouldn't be pretty. Love you too, Teresa. I love you all, and I said this earlier in a video and in the thing. That for what I may mean to you, 3 hours more. Uh, on a 3 hour tour. But the idea, though, that um, you made me forget what I was going to say. It's all your fault, Michelle. Anyway, what I was going to say about love is that, and I honestly mean this. I started this channel, and I say regardless of who I met or whatever, because I was instructed. You all basically know the story. But in that, so in my lack of confidence, in my own personal shortcomings, or Gilligan's Island. Yep. Have a nice day. Thank you, Teresa, and sweet dreams, and whatever you need rest for. I hope it's okay. Okay, be good. So, but I realize, and I've realized this for a while. So, but you mean as much to me as a group of wonderful people as I may mean to you as a single person to you. I know that sounds a little convoluted in that, but I look forward to seeing who's going to be in the chat, and I look forward to comments, and I look, even if they're negative comments, so I'll allow that. But um, you all have meant a lot to my life. I mean, for example, if it hadn't been for me starting a channel, I would have never met Brian. You know, I would have never been on somebody else's show. I would have never met you all as a soul tribe, as members of the League of Like-Minded Beings, as fellow angels in this universe and spiritual guides and people and healers. Uh, we wouldn't have met. So how much grace and divinity is in that by simply turning on the computer and opening it up and saying, hey, let's chat. And yes, I have certain messages and discussions and things, but they're all prompted by my spirit guide, because I see things in the universe, and I realize that maybe it's not my anxiety, maybe it's someone else's, as has happened recently. So when we can see it, note it, take charge of it, and we can still allow ourselves to get pissed off, but keep that 5-minute rule. Somebody said it several years ago. It was like Saint Germain or something like that, or another one. Anyway, that 5 minutes was plenty enough time to be mad, angry, sad, or whatever. Now, if someone is just passed away in your family or something, I mean, but the sadness of just sitting around a house and all of a sudden you feel like crying, that's what I'm talking about. It may not be yours, so, and there's a good one. You can always say, you can always tell the universe, if you're the ones are to blame for my anxiety today. Blame it on the universe if you want to. Thank you, Ray. I always look forward to you being on Brian's show the most. No offense to anyone else, just resonated with your message, your soul, and you bring a calming vibe that is so needed in our lives. Well, God bless you, Ray. Thank you. Y'all bring see, I don't expect those kind of comments. I honestly don't. You give them freely without prompting. I've never asked you to share. Well, there may be one or two videos, but I've never asked you to share like a video or, prompt anything that type of nature. I do this because it just needs to be done. It needs to be said. It needs to be discussed. We need to have a chat here. But having spent my life with having all these critical thinkers in my brain making me, sanity is overrated. Yeah. Well, see, I could, my sanity now is insanity to other folks. You know, ain't that interesting how that sort of changed events? But with that said, look how many crazy people are with me now. There's 12, it says in the chat, right? So, so y'all, we all us crazy people are, have morphed together into this, thing, which I do think is beautiful and lovely and all that. And when I tell you that I pray for you each and every day, I really honestly mean it. And there was a sister Miriam that I found her channel recently, and she's a nun. Maybe the Franciscan order. She's wears black with a white thing up here. I forget my orders of the Catholic Church, but in what she has to say is like, as long as we're breathing, we should never give up hope. And I was like, now, what a profound statement, what a profound statement. Um, yeah, David says, sanity is overrated. Your brain is stuck in your programming prison. Have fun and care less about what anyone thinks. Up to a point, yes, I agree with that. About what someone else thinks. Um, in this realm of what I talk about, I do care what other people think, in that I want you to think for yourselves in that this might be a plausible answer or a plausible scenario. So I do care what other people think in that. Now, if I just use the F word all the time and, you're fucking crazy, then, people are going to think, oh, wait a minute, this guy's too rude and he's overbearing and he's so full of himself and or whatever. So because so I do care what other people think up to a point. You know what I mean? So for those people out there that already think I'm nuts, I don't care what they think. You know what I mean? But to you folks, I do care what you think. Let's have an open discussion and let's share and all that kind of thing. But anyway, so I gotta pee. I gotta go to the toilet. I have to check the fire because it's been an hour and a half before I put any wood in the stove, and I want to keep it going because it's going to be chilly tonight. It already is. So I love you all to death. I love you all to life, through life, and I thank you all for being who you are. It's every single one of us is important to this, to the plan of the universe. And the more we share and the more we send out love to each other and to other folks, and, when we don't overreact to certain things, and when we take control of those crazy voices in our head, and we learn to say no without it being a big deal. Nope, sorry, you're not going to bother me today. I don't care what's making me sad. Wherever you are in the universe, it ain't me. So leave me alone. Or tell me what it is so I can at least understand it. And then sometimes I do a video like, whoa, that was weird. Okay, let's have a chat. So, but anyway, and earlier today, it was all about this stuff and all the craziness and everything. But to that point, though, good night, Jody. And I'm fixing to get out of here, too. Just remember, keep the faith. It's going to get weird out there. But, we are all in this together. We'll figure it out one way or the other. So, with that said, take a deep breath, everybody. Sleep well. Have a good night or good morning, wherever you may be. And remember that if you think you're alone, you ain't. You just ain't. There's a bunch of us out here. And when we connect and share our thoughts, that's the soul tribe. That's our togetherness. That's the love we feel for each other and our compassion and all that. I think that's a wonderful thing. And y'all are doing great. Let's keep up the good work, y'all. So with that said, I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive and to share the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. Each and every day when I put my feet on the floor, I continue my prayer that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, all of your relations, and all of your relatives, past, present, and to come, will continue to learn to accept and receive and to share the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the blessings that exist in the universe, which is all around us. We're swimming in it, right? And it is that law of three. I continue to pray, and I do, that each and every day, each and every one of you, your friends, your contacts, and anyone that you may come in contact with, will continue to learn to accept and receive and share the healing, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe. So, my friends, stay warm. I got to go get some firewood, and I can feel my feet starting to get a little chilly. Got to go load up the stove. Um, Great comments, everyone, says Michelle, but I absolutely believe it. Love you, sweet friends. Thank you. TTFN, right, Barry. Thank you. So it is, it shall be, it is done. Right. Make our minds and let's do it. So be safe, everybody. Stay warm. I'm going to go get some firewood. Duggar's conked out on the on the couch over there, snoring. I don't think you can hear him, but he woke me up this morning. I was like, "What's this strange noise in the house?" He was snoring so loud he woke me up. Anyway, so take care, everybody, and be safe. And until next time, TTFN. We do love each other, and thank you for your time, your effort, etc. And I could jack for another 2 hours just for Michelle. I'm picking on you tonight, Michelle, but anyway, so stay safe, and as we always say, thank you, Bob. And we'll toast the end of this with a little bit of coffee. I lit that cigarette and then it went out. Be safe. TTFN, ta-ta for now, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.